r/AskReddit, which piece of information you know because of your job or study will shock the average person? Hotels 100% profile guests. Especially guests without reservations. Tell me more. Expensive cars keep being expensive. The tires are expensive. The parts are expensive. The people who work on them are expensive. Buying a Porsche or a BMW isn't a one-time splurge. This might seem like a no-brainer to you, but I worked in a garage and I promise I saw someone having that unpleasant realization every day. Same thing for homes. Big expensive homes have big property taxes, water, sewer, electric, and insurance bills attached to them. My dad always said, expensive cars, expensive parts, expensive maintenance. There is a whole wealth of historical information, and information generally, that is not available online at all. Digitizing things takes a lot of people power that many libraries/archives simply don't have. I work with a lot with aerial photography. Availability is for sure improving as scanning and indexing becomes more affordable and efficient, but the amount of valuable historic information that is stashed away in cabinets in old county and government offices is pretty amazing. People in retirement homes have a ton of sex, both couples and widows. There is also a massively high rate of STDs amongst retirement home residents. Retirement homes have among the highest infection rate for STDs. Behold the power of Viagra and horny old people with nothing but time to kill. So that Parks and Rec episode where Leslie does the sex ed course for the senior community has some truth to it. What are some of the dangers of having too much sex? Falling in love. Partner dying on top of you. Most suicides aren't dramatic newsworthy events. I'm not saying they aren't meaningful, but they happen quietly. My husband committed suicide in our home. No news crew is going to cover that, nor did we want them to. Edit, a word. No matter how well run that event you are going to. Theater. Concert. Etc. Everything backstage is usually about 5 minutes away from exploding into a fireball. I'm so sorry. The news makes it a point of not reporting suicides. Because when suicides are reported on the news, the suicide rate goes up. Link. How rotten a lot of bridges are. I work in highway maintenance and quite a few of them are in hideous condition and overdue for replacement. I can think of one where the deck is more or less held in place by gravity and moves up and down independently of the structure beneath, which is coming misaligned because of a lateral force put on it by eroding river banks. Fortunately that one is finally under contract to be replaced this year. One of HTE big reasons why infrastructure bills in government are so important. I'm a teacher. We judge parents based on how their kids act. And we judge a lot. The biggest reason I'd never be a teacher is because I don't want to deal with the parents. Seems like a nightmare. Also a teacher, there's a lot to judge. Half of the world's population has a nutritional deficiency. 3 billion people can't afford a healthy diet. 735 million people go to bed hungry every day. Food and agriculture is responsible for a third of greenhouse gas emissions, and the vast majority of deforestation, land use change, biodiversity loss, and freshwater withdrawal. Nothing matters in business if you do not know how to create relationships. Maybe I too am an event. Rule of acquisition number? I'm a mascot performer. People constantly want to talk about how hot it must be inside the costumes, but the truth is I don't feel the heat. Don't get me wrong, I take steps to avoid overheating and dehydration, but once you've done this job long enough the temperature inside the costume just feels like normal. Before this I was a journalist. I could talk about the misconceptions there, but that would require an essay. How secret do you have to keep your identity? I guess it depends on what level, but I'm fascinated by the logistics behind mascots. There are far more suicides than you think, mostly men, about 70%. It's never usually publicized because of the fear of copycats. And many of them aren't even recorded as a suicide, so the real stats are actually higher. A long man car crashing into a wall on a straight at 100 kilometers per hour. Things like that are automobile accidents on the record. Vintage Fiesta wear can be radioactive and full of lead. Just depends of the year. And stay away from chip pieces. Wait. Can you provide a picture of what we should be avoiding? BC, that seems really bad. When you go to Vegas and a casino advertises 99.9% payouts, legally that means that at least one machine on the casino floor has that payout among the other hundreds of machines in the casino. And probably only one. Forensic psychologists, there are so many horrendous crimes that happen that never reach the news/mainstream media. And that there are trends in which crimes actually get reported. For example, domestic violence is very in right now, and a hot topic, so you will see a lot of that in the news. It's not that it's actually happening more than usual, the reporting is just skewed by what stories will actually sell. It's shockingly easy to be held against your will for even a suspected mental health crisis and the entire system is broken and needs to be overhauled. 5 minutes. Your team must be one of the elites. Yep. One of the most alarming things that I realized when I started to work in community mental health was how easy it was to petition someone. Electrical arc from a high-energy DC source, such as electric car battery or photovoltaic panel, is extremely hard to turn off once it gets started. Until the energy source is depleted, the battery does empty but the panel will go on until it burns or the night falls. It burns hot enough to either vaporize or detonate anything it comes into contact with. Obviously there are protective measures in place to prevent this from happening, but people have this annoying habit of thinking they are smarter than those things. I work for a company that distributes ice machines for a major ice machine company. Just do yourself a favor and say no ice. People do not clean these machines. It costs about 95% less to make dental crowns, bridges, etc., so an $800 full zirconia or Emax unit may be about $40. Excuse me, but my crown was $1,400 and I'm awfully bitter about it, thank you. If anything else, and I mean anything else, was designed and executed as poorly as software projects, literally half the country would either be dead or in federal prison for gross negligence. CDD, chaos-driven development. Cost/quality/time triangle, pick 2. Most software is not health or safety critical. Therefore they pick cost and time to sacrifice quality. Software projects that could result in someone being dead or in prison tend to pick quality and either sacrifice cost or time. A lot of men are also raped/sexually assaulted in the military. The average person has a little more care for their oral hygiene and health than you'd expect, a little less than you'd hope, and the catastrophic cases really make you think how a human being would subject themselves to live like that. I worked as a tech, my wife stage manages. 100% correct. People are more dangerous and violent than people realize. A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals. It's often said that people are only 3 missed meals away from anarchy. You also see the true nature of people in times where disaster is imminent and the rule of law is suspended or severely weakened. Look at Ches in Seattle or the looting just before Katrina, both US examples, but well documented. More people are monsters than anyone cares to admit. The facade of society keeps most of those in check. Inside your body hides a creepy spooky skeleton. A wet creepy spooky skeleton. Your body is a donut. You'd not eat at half the restaurants you go to if you saw the kitchen, if you worked in the industry that jumps to 75% cause you recognize the flaws that someone who hasn't worked in the industry would miss or think are normal. The last 20 to 25% are barely above board. As someone who's worked in a kitchen, you just get used to it Like, I know I've been eating at places like that for decades and been fine, I guess my immune system can handle it. I'm a writer for corporate websites. We purposely write at a 5th grade reading level so that the uneducated can read the site, and so it's easier for blind people to use their screen readers. As a blind reader, thank you for all that you do. So Noises Off is a documentary. Almost nobody expects to get admitted to a nursing home, because they never feel like they're old. Similar for dying. You can tell someone that they are dying and will be dead soon, then say, what do you think you're going to do when you leave here today? And they'll rattle off some possible plans. You aren't going home. This is the last stop. The percentage of CPR being effective, 10 to 17% in a hospital setting, and when they do survive, quality of life is shit. That seems a bit biased though, because people only need CPR when they're actually pretty much dead. Seen 2 fires on stage and 1 production running 4 hours behind schedule, and all at the South Bank Centre, London. If one of UK's premier event centres struggle, I can imagine the chaos at smaller venues. Errors in tax returns are actually pretty common in the federal government. That's why there is a literal section of the IRS that corrects your inputs. What a waste of time and money it is that we in the US need to turn in a bunch of numbers the IRS already has. It's like taking a math test.
Hey guys, it's Reddit Glitch. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I just wanted to ask you guys to hit the subscribe button because according to my statistics, 98.8% of my viewers are not subscribed, which I think you should subscribe because it's free and we're going to have a lot more bangers in the future, so subscribe. Again, thanks for watching. Bye.